A very good evening and a warm welcome to Personal Finance. I'm Kukulethu Cele. I'll be sitting down with the movers and shakers in the financial services space to help you make sense of your finances. Now, many New Year's resolutions include the likes of saving more and spending less, but some advice that those resolutions fall to the sidelines by February because they have no clear savings goals. I'm joined now by Stephen Nathan, Chief Executive of 10X Investments from our Cape Town studios, and Lelane Bezuidenhout, Senior Certification Manager at the Financial Planning Institute, for a look at why your retirement savings should also be prioritized in 2015. Stephen, maybe if we can start off with you in our Cape Town studios. You make mention of the fact that this needs to be a New Year's resolution. For some consumers scratching their heads watching the show this evening, why is that?
Well, I think a new year is a time where people reflect on things and they take time out of their normal daily lives, which can get very hectic, and we can be focused very much on the short term and we don't have the time to think about our long-term goals. And over the Christmas New Year period, where people are fresh, they've had time to refresh themselves, it's also an opportune time to reflect on long-term goals, because you've had hopefully a very good holiday. And what you want to ensure is that when you retire, that the holiday you have after retirement actually is a holiday, rather than a period where you don't have enough money to live and you have a very unpleasant lifestyle in your retirement years.
Lelane, you've been nodding your head in agreement with Stephen, and maybe we need to run through some of the facts and lay down the foundation from a statistics point of view. That the reality is a lot of South Africans don't have enough money to live the way that they do now in their retirement.
Absolutely, Gugulethu. You know what, a lot of the clients, it depends on which life stage you are. When you're young and you're 25, you think, oh, I'm not going to save for retirement. Then you fall in love, you meet the person of your life, you get married, you have children, and then all of a sudden your priorities changes to focus on the children. You save for their education, and you tend to forget about your own retirement savings. Now the children finishes at university and you hit almost 50 and you realize and you start panicking. I do not have enough savings for my retirement. What do I do? And many instances like that, when you hit the age of about 50, you look at your parents' life and you think, but I don't want to retire like my parents. That's too late. It's too late. You should start saving today, please. Prioritize retirement savings. You should have started actually saving your first payment, your first paycheck already.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, that's not the true reality for many South Africans. But then what is the starting point? Because perhaps you start as a freelancer in the industry and you're not getting the right financial advice. Do I look for representatives like yourself in the industry?
Absolutely. What you can do is many a times, I'm going to introduce you to what a certified financial planner is. A certified financial planner is somebody who wouldn't just necessarily say, all right, Gugulethu, I see you need retirement saving. Let me give you a retirement annuity for 1,000 Rand a month. I'm not chasing sales targets. What I do as a certified financial planner, I sit down with you and I prioritize your financial needs. I will look at your retirement goals. You're going to tell me, Lelane, when I retire at age 65, I want to pay my house off, I want to buy a new car, and I want to have a net income for the next 20 years of about 15,000 Rand a month, whichever amount you want. What we then do, as a certified financial planner, you will then look at your current provision that you have. So we'll look at your preservation funds, your pension funds, any retirement provision you have. And then through a various set of time value calculations, a certified financial planner will then calculate what is the capital amount you need when you retire. Then what you need to do is you have to look at what you need versus what you have. And in South Africa, unfortunately, most of the times we sit with a very negative picture, a massive shortfall. And that is where your certified planner will then come in, and they will look not only at retirement planning, they will look at your tax planning, and they will bring in your financial management, because I can give you a massive recommendation of a retirement annuity of 100,000 Rand a month. But I have to look at your financial management. I have to look at your budget. How much can you afford? And I, as a CFP professional, will help you to reach your goal for retirement as soon as possible. So please consult a CFP professional as soon as possible.
Well, we've definitely set out and highlighted the goals. And Stephen, maybe this is where we come to you to get your opinion on the difference in setting one's retirement financial goals and how they might differ from someone who's in your same age group but has a different circumstance to their life at the moment, and also your commentary on the 15%, if that's a standard that works for everyone.
Most people's goal at retirement is to maintain their pre-retirement lifestyle. So you want to maintain a lifestyle, but you don't have the income of your salary. So we typically look at what percentage of your final salary you would like to replace at a minimum, so that hopefully you do better, but to ensure that you don't do worse. And at 10X, we set 60% as the minimum because your expenses should be dramatically lower. The kids have left the house, your debt should be paid down. But once again, that would differ. You tend to find that higher income people need less as a percentage of their final salary, and lower income people need more. But 60% is a sound minimum because you're not going to be destitute. Unfortunately, in South Africa, the average person replaces less than 30%. So we've got a massive gap. Now, in order to get the 60% or more, you should save 15% of your salary from your first paycheck to your last paycheck for 40 years. And if you do that in the right vehicle, so you've got to get the right savings, which is 15% for 40 years, and you've got to get the right investment. And if you do those things correctly, then you should have more than enough. In fact, over the last 40 years, had you done that, you would have replaced more than 100% of your final salary. That's very important to do. But if you're not saving for 40 years, then you have to save more than 15%. So it's really a simple mathematical equation. The more you save, the longer you save, the more you're going to have at retirement.
You mentioned the retirement vehicle, Stephen, which is obviously something that needs to be monitored to ensure that it's performing. As a consumer at home, how do I ensure that that is taking place?
Yeah, so where you invest your money, I mean, unfortunately, there's a bit of complexity because already things like retirement annuity, preservation funds, unit trust, they all get mentioned. But that's really a legal entity that has a tax. It's a tax wrapper. But what you need to know as a consumer is, what investment portfolio am I investing in? Now here, unfortunately, the investment industry likes to sell lots of different products and complexity and give you so many choices. But as a consumer, you need to educate yourself. You need to spend maybe an hour or two just getting some basic education, because no matter who you sit in front of, who provides you a product, it's likely that they're going to have their own profit motive, and that might not always be aligned with your motive. But what you need to know as a long-term investor, which is 5 years and longer, quite simply, you should own a portfolio with a high equity fund, so up to 75% sitting in shares. It's called an aggressive fund. It's called different names, but the names might differ, but the portfolio is the same. High equity fund, well diversified, so you don't only have your eggs in South African equities, but you have property, you have offshore, and then you want to minimize your fees. You want to reduce your fees because that's critical. Over 40 years, getting one of those things wrong can derail your retirement years.
Lelane, I want to come to you on the issue of fees, because maybe that's something else that confuses a lot of the viewers at home as to how much is enough or how much is too much that you might be paying over, and the calculation regarding the fees. It looks like 0.5% now, but in the long term, it could amount to be quite a lot.
I think one thing that a consumer must remember is that the fee is not cast in stone. You are allowed to negotiate that with your certified financial planner. And one of the practice standards that a certified financial planner must follow is full disclosures with regards to fees. Whether it is your platform fees, whether it's an advisory fee, you have to disclose all of that. So bear in mind that you can negotiate, especially the advisory fee going forward.
Negotiate. That's a very big word that you use there, because I think a lot of times we think that we're on the losing end and that you have to take what you're given.
I think what we also have to bear in mind, if you look at a CFP professional, there's certain steps that they follow in financial planning. The first one is to establish a contractual relationship between you and your client. So at that stage, I as a certified financial planner will tell you the services I can give you, which fees I'm charging, and you will then also tell me what your needs are, and we can then see, is there a meeting of minds? That is where the contractual relationship comes in, and that's where you can also negotiate your fee.
Stephen, on that issue of negotiation, you mentioned choosing something that is simple and transparent as a retirement savings vehicle. Are such products available to the market? And maybe for the viewer watching at home, where do they start?
Well, once again, as a consumer, you need to empower yourself, because what you must understand is that whoever provides you a service, advice, a product, an investment portfolio, is that they have a commercial motive. And unfortunately, the history of South Africans' financial services shows that that commercial motive has in many cases taken priority over the investor's motive. And the Financial Services Board, the regulators, are looking into the quality of advice, not only from financial advisors, but from investment managers and others. So you can't take it as a given that someone's going to be looking after your own interest, because there are so many different fees. Those fees tend to be quite complex in the way they're disclosed. And also, it's hard for the lay person to understand that, because as a long-term investor, you're likely to earn a return of about inflation plus 6 if you invest sensibly. So if you pay 1 or 2% extra, it doesn't seem like a lot. But if you recognize that 2 over 6 is 1/3 of your return that's been eroded, and then that compounds to be even greater, that can derail your retirement, no matter what the other person's objectives or what they are telling you. So you have to empower yourself, because very few people or companies are willingly going to give you a lower cost product. And there are those products available. I would encourage people to look at our website and to do some online research and educate themselves, because there are those products available, but they tend to be hidden. They're not at the forefront of the product shelf.
You've touched on fees, but I want to give you a life scenario here where individuals in their 40s or 50s have to take out deductions because they've either got a bond to pay or kids to take to university. Is it ever advisable to make a withdrawal from your retirement savings vehicle?
Well, it isn't. I mean, if your objective is to save for retirement, and that was your only objective, then anything that you did that was counterproductive to that objective would clearly derail the probability that you're going to reach that objective. And one of the most fundamental points about investing is invest for the long run, because the longer you can invest your money, the more chance you've got of earning better returns, the more chance you've got of recovering from poor markets. So compounding, that has often been spoken of as the 8th wonder of the world, truly works in your favor. But it can also work against you, because if you start saving late or you withdraw, you're almost never ever going to catch that up. So you're making one decision that is almost going to guarantee you of not having enough at retirement. So maybe what people should do is look at the other side of your savings, which is your debt, and make sure that you don't have expensive debt. A lot of South African consumers have unsecured debt, furniture retailers, other retailers, credit card debt, and that's at probably double what you could get in a home loan. So maybe one way to see where you can make ends meet is by focusing much more on optimizing your debt rather than dipping into your retirement savings, which you're unlikely to replace.
Lelane, clearly you agree, nodding in agreement with Stephen. In 30 seconds, your 3 key takeaway points for the viewer at home today.
I absolutely agree. If you're going to take a withdrawal from any retirement investment vehicle, you're only compounding your problem at retirement, and you're not compounding your retirement savings. So be a pioneer this year. Take initiative. Start saving for your retirement. You should have done that a long time ago. And then furthermore, preserve. Should you change careers, please do not take that money. Preserve your capital for retirement.
Preserve capital for retirement, which is the intended objective.
Please do.
Thank you so much for your insights this evening. That's it for Personal Finance for tonight. Thanks once more to Stephen Nathan, Chief Executive of 10X Investments, and Lelane Bezuidenhout, Senior Certification Manager at the Financial Planning Institute. Remember that we'd love to hear from you, so get tweeting and send us your comments at CNBC Africa using the hashtag Finance410, or even to myself at Kukumfupi. Until next time, it's goodbye for now.